Welcome to Movie Night and Game Day. I'm Kyle, the creator of the movie Spreadsheet, where I review, rate, and rank movies based on some simple criteria.
All right, cool. And I'm Eric. I'm Kyle's co host. Each week we get together for movie night and game day. It's where we review two movies, we try to guess each other's scores, and the winner gets first dibs on picking next week's movies to watch. Plus, we're passionate about sports, so we'll each discuss a topic that's trending in that area.
And every week we'll sprinkle in a little fun. This week, Eric's challenging me to see how many movie posters I can describe just from hearing the title. He's gonna predict how many I can get right, and if I can beat that, I'll pay his, or he'll pay my fantasy entry fee, or he'll pay mine for fantasy football.
That's right. So there's some real money at stake today. Remember, we want you to like, subscribe, rate, review, and comment. We want you to be a part of movie night and game day. So, Kyle, before we get to the movies, what's going on with you?
Well, let me just tell you what's going on with me. I'm having an absolute lovely 3-day weekend. Megs has taken the two kids out of town to Houston to spend some time with their grandmother, and I get to be here. And I am a total homebody. I love being around the house. I love having no plans and kind of just laying around, playing video games, watching movies, watching sports. What's going on with you?
I gotta say, I totally relate to that. There's nothing like being able to put on another screen of a sports game and not getting a weird side eye from someone else who's living in the house. What's new with me? Last week I went up to visit my mom and dad in Bayshore Harbor, Maine. It was great. I really apologize to all of the lobsters that I ate. They were really delicious. I also learned that there's a difference between Maine oysters and Gulf oysters. Mostly that Maine oysters are 2 years old, unlike Gulf oysters, which are one when you eat them. And the cold water up there supposedly keeps them healthier. So, little factoid if you're into oysters and seafood and you're looking for a comparison between the Gulf and northern New England. All right, so Kyle, before we get to this week's movies, is there anything else we need to mention?
I think we should just mention how your sports topic was absolutely spot on to what ended up occurring during the U.S. Open. So kudos for the on topic.
I'm excited about that. We'll talk about that more when we get to game day. I have no corrections, so I think last week we were 100% factual. All right, Kyle, I say let's get to the movies. It's movie night. Let's talk about what we watched this week. Movie number one you gave to me, it was Thunderbolts. So, just a brief overview of what happened in the movie. It opens up with Yelena. She's pulling a heist at some sort of top secret lab. And we eventually find out that she's working for CIA Director Valentina Allegra Dufontaine. And we come to learn that she was the head of Ox, and that company is being investigated for wrongdoing by Congress. And now that Dufontaine is the head of the CIA, they're doing some investigations into what she was up to prior to that post. To cover her tracks, she sends Yelena, a fake Captain America, Ava Starr, and one other person to a secret Ox facility. They were supposed to complete one mission, which was murder each other. But it turns out upon arrival, they're actually there to be incinerated so Dufontaine can cover up her tracks. They're able to avoid the incinerator. They almost get caught by the army. But there's one other person who's hiding in the facility. His name is Bob. Turns out Bob has a lot of superpowers. He grows to believe that he's a god. Dufontaine wants Bob to kill the other Thunderbolts, who is joined, by the way, by Yelena's father. His name is Alexei. And once he gets to be part of the Thunderbolts, turns out that they all have to get together along with Bucky to fight Bob. By the end of the movie, everything is copacetic except for Dufontaine, who is now owned by the new Avengers that she introduces to the world. So, Kyle, did I miss anything in that overview?
I think you nailed everything perfectly.
All right, cool. So let's go through the movie. Here's what I really liked about the movie: the conflict. I love that there weren't any more interstellar, inner timeline, inter superhero battles. Really, everyone who was involved in Thunderbolts except for Bob had pretty much normal powers or slightly enhanced, maybe with the exception of the person that could go invisible. But it wasn't an all powerful being from a third universe that was coming to attack Earth. So I thought that was really cool. I loved Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was perfect for this role. I kept thinking how she was a mix of Elaine and her character from Veep. It was just like the perfect casting, and I can't wait to see her in more movies. I also like the metaphor of don't let your inner good be overtaken by evil. I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, and that's kind of like the overall theme, and that's how the Thunderbolts end up beating the dark force that was overcoming Bob. And I actually really like the characters. You know, aside from Bob and Ava, they're all regular human beings. They're unique, they're fun, they're misfits that somehow kind of get together and work together. It was just a nice break from the prior Avengers. And so, those are the things that worked for me. What about you, Kyle? What did you like?
Well, I like that this ended phase 5 because I felt like the first Marvel first 3 phases was phenomenal. Then you get 4 and 5, which have kind of been a decline. So I'm glad phase 5 is now over. I also thought Julia Louis-Dreyfus was excellent. That was one of the notes that I made. But most importantly, I felt like Red Guardian stole every single scene that he was in. Like every scene that had the Red Guardian, he was bringing comic relief to the movie, and it was something that the movie desperately needed. Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier's appearance was awesome when he takes down that Humvee by wrapping it around his arm and punching it into the ground. That was one of those Marvel moments that I've come to expect from Marvel, but honestly has been missing over the last few phases. So I'm glad to have that back. I also love that they brought in the Ghost from the Ant-Man series, and then also they introduced, I guess, Taskmaster for the first time, but quickly killed her off. We're not sure how that's going to end up working out. The post-credit scene looping in the Fantastic Four to Earth was really cool, and I love that things are coming to Earth, not us, like you said, leaving Earth and fighting weird things. But I've got a little bit of a question here, which will go into like what you didn't like. Do you feel like Marvel is becoming slightly dependent upon making these franchises, X-Men, Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and now start to interact with each other on, well, Earth 616? So, and then also, what didn't you like?
So I hope they're not going to continue to rely on that. I think the movies, the characters, the timelines, they can all have their own identity. I think what we got with this original Avengers and like the combining of every superhero in the MCU to take on Thanos, that was like a one-time thing, and maybe that's something to build up to in the future. I would just take a step back, let each group of characters, each franchise like develop and bubble, and then maybe start to integrate. But I don't think you need to have plans to integrate today. That's at least my opinion. But what I didn't like about the movie, I know this is like such a nitpick. I hate watching movies with fake Russian accents. I don't know why it drives me crazy, but like David Halber, the cop from Stranger Things, was Alexei, the father. I love him. He's such a great actor. He plays so many of his roles perfectly, but I just wasn't buying the fake Russian accent. Like, either speak in Russian or get a real Russian actor or someone from Ukraine. I mean, I don't care. I don't know. It just bothers me the whole time. At the end of the movie, when it was like Bob and he was floating over New York City and the darkness starts to creep out, they all start to run inside. And I was just really curious. So shutting a big door was going to keep this cloud from coming and getting them. Thought that was just a little piece that was missing. And then finally, the fake Captain America and Bucky. I know you enjoyed having Bucky there, and I think he was useful in some parts, but I really want a clean break. let this franchise develop on its own, then maybe you can weave in some things. But I would just like to see something fresh, something new. And mostly what I enjoyed about this movie was that a lot of it felt that way. Just that was the part that kind of kept me pulling back and like, ooh, just do the clean break. So what about you? What didn't you like? What didn't work for you?
The big thing right away for me was kind of the fight scenes. I feel like with Marvel, you got to offer something new in fight scenes. And when the movie opens with Yelena fighting people, I just felt ordinary. And for Marvel, I'm looking for that extraordinary feeling. I think the best fight scene was when you had Ghost and you had Taskmaster and U.S. Agent, aka fake Captain America, and Yelena all in the lab, and they were fighting each other, and they were showcasing all of their fights. That was awesome. I would like to have more of that and less of the generic fights that I feel like we really got. Also, the fact that they don't like really showcase Taskmaster at all. They like kill her off immediately. It's like why is she on the cover of the Thunderbolts movie poster? Why is she like right there on the forefront if you're going to eliminate her right away? And from what we've seen and what I've researched after, she seems pretty awesome. So maybe she'll be coming back, but it just felt like that could have been another cool person to work into the story. I hated this ending. I hate how they defeat Sentry. This is like the It ending where they basically bully the interdimensional space evil monster clown to death, but the opposite. Like you're going to hug the evil bad guy to like death to like make it go away. I hate that. And like you said, I would love for the Marvel movies to start to develop the idea that these things need to stand on their own. They need to have a bad guy in the movie that needs to be defeated. And if we have some thread that moves throughout, like in that post-credit scene, I would love that. But Marvel needs to go back to making the movies entertaining, like originally. So, Eric, what was your overall score for this movie?
All right, so don't forget for all of you watching out there, we're competing to see who can guess each other's score closer for the movies that we assigned. So, Kyle, my overall score for the movie was 8.475. It's in the top 55% of my movies on the movie spreadsheet. The overall percentile makes it sound really, really low, but I don't have a lot of poorly rated movies on my spreadsheet. I mean, 8.475 is a very solid number. And so just to take away everything, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I was entertained the whole time. It was over 2 hours, but I wasn't feeling like it was dragging at any point. I think it was a solid Marvel movie with a new set of characters, and I enjoyed it. So I'm curious to know, what did you think I was going to rate it? What did you think my overall number was going to be?
I was so far off. I don't think there's any possible way that you can now lose. I think this is like a foregone conclusion. I just thought that the movie wasn't. Now look, I know that you love Marvel, right? Because I think you picked Black Panther as one of your top 10 from that New York Times list, which is in another movie. So check that episode 1 out. But I felt like maybe this movie wasn't going to offer enough like uniqueness or flexibility or take you back to like the original Marvel roots to get a high enough score. So I thought it would be above a 4. I don't know why I'm saying 4. I saw originally when I saw your spreadsheet, there was a lot of like, I think 4 was like pretty low for you. So I put this as a 6.25, what I thought your overall score would be. So way off. 2+ points off.
6.25. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll have to do the final math once we get your reveal. So you thought it was going to be 6.25 for me. It's interesting what you just said. I kind of felt as though this was like how the original Iron Man felt. Except I thought it was just a little more fast paced, and I thought it understood, some of the things that Marvel learned along the way since then. But anyway, what was your overall score for the movie? Do you have that available?
My overall score was a 6.2. Wait, let me just double check this. My overall score was a 6.25. So I thought our scores would be very similar. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Like, do you think there was a signature moment from this movie? Like you said, you think it was like Iron Man. Iron Man's got some signature moments. Like, what would you say the signature moment from Thunderbolts like would be?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. Uh, I do think one of the things that was interesting about Thunderbolts is compared to previous Marvel iterations where you have Fury from the government who is fully on the superhero side. Now you have Dufontaine who is from the government who is trying to kill them but now has to promote them to the Avengers. I thought that was interesting. A signature moment though. I don't know if any one particular moment stands out for me, but if I think back to Iron Man 1, I don't know if there's any particular moment in that movie that stands out to me today. What about you?
Yeah, I think if I were thinking about like Iron Man 1 or any of these movies, all the signature moments would be loosely around that person. Like I'm still thinking about like in Iron Man when he crashes, Iron Man 2 when he crashes in Monaco and they have the battle on the Monaco racetrack, or Iron Man 1 where he's like, how did you solve the problem with the frosting? And I was like, yes, this is awesome. This is something special. And I think for Thunderbolts, all the signature moments didn't involve like the main character, right? Like Yelena was the main character, and I felt like none of the moments really involved her. So 6.2. I'm happy with it being above average.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, an above average score isn't bad. So just some quick math. You were 2.225 off from my score. So we'll see if I can get within 2.225. For those of you watching, what do you think worked? What do you think didn't work? What'd you like? What didn't you like? Did you try to guess our scores? How close were you to guessing our scores? Let us know in the comments, please. And if there are any good comments or anyone who scored really close to us, we'll bring it up next week on the pod. So, Kyle, let's get to movie number 2.
All right, movie number 2 was Freaky Tales, which you assigned me to watch. Now, Freaky Tales is a 4-part short series. We'll call it shorts, 4 parts, shorts that tell a story that takes place in Oakland in the late 80s. That's all explained, I guess, by this magical green haze overtaking the city. It does feel like a movie that is really 4 shorts and doesn't really connect that much together. But it should be noted that Marshawn Lynch is in this movie, and that's where I'm going to leave the summary of what it is. I'm sure I missed out on something, Eric. What do you have to add for me?
You know, I mean, I was trying to think of how I would describe this movie in 30 to 45 seconds, and I think you nailed it. So that's great. What did you like about the movie?
Okay, so I really liked the cinematography and how the cinematography changed between shorts. And we have to note that it's really difficult to make a movie full of shorts that are going to essentially captivate the audience all the way through. And it makes it a particularly difficult movie to rate because of that. But I really like that first movie. The cinematography was awesome, and I love the way they pay homage to Oakland in the late 80s. And I think it'd be really cool to have more movies like that, although it does kind of seem like we have a movie like that right now about New York in I think the early 90s in the theaters, which is getting a lot of reviews. So last thing I wanted to talk about was Tom Hanks' amazing cameo in this movie. Now, Eric, what did you like about this movie?
So for me, it was the cast. I thought Ben Mendelsohn was great. He was creepy AF, but he was great. Tom Hanks, that cameo was just one of the funniest things I think I've seen in a long time. As you mentioned, Marshawn Lynch was in there. Jay Ellis, Too Short. There were a couple other, I did some research afterwards. There were a couple other cameos that I didn't even pick up on, but I just thought it was like, if you could name some big names and get them in a movie, they did that. And I thought that was really cool. So, Kyle, what didn't you like about the movie?
Well, shorts are a really difficult task. And if you're going to put shorts together and package them as one movie, they really each have to hold their own weight, and it immediately reminded me of this movie called Wild Tales. It's a Spanish film. I was like, when I was watching this, I was like, wow, I need to watch Wild Tales, because Freaky Tales is essentially like the same structure. Because you have four shorts, you need to learn about each of the characters in those stories, and that takes time. And so for me, this felt more like watching 4 episodes of a miniseries or of a TV show that are loosely connected, that at the start you got to figure out who each person is and what's going on, and they have their own little plot structure, the rise and fall. And so for me, I had a lot of these dips that were pretty low because it was a new short. I just generally felt like I would have liked more connection between these stories, and some were definitely better than others. How about you, Eric? What didn't you like about this?
There were a lot of technical things that annoyed me. So in terms of like visual fails, some of the scenes were in 4:3, and I don't understand that. If you have a widescreen format, you should be filling up the screen. I still don't understand that HBO redo of Justice League with Zack Snyder in black and white and 4:3. I just don't get it. They added in fake grain, or they don't know how to set their camera properly and avoid getting grain. They put in fake cigarette burns. No one uses cigarette burns because no one uses film anymore in the theaters. I don't know why that was added in. There were a lot of weird graphics too. So there were like cartoons that were added. The first fight scene when they were taking on the Nazis, and you would have the hit and then everything would slow down, but blood would gush out, and the blood was not slow, and the blood was also not realistic. The green lighting, all of a sudden the bus launches off into outer space. There were a lot of those things that just happened that I didn't understand, and it made no sense. There were a couple other things that annoyed me. So when they were in the cafe scene, the restaurant scene, and it was the guy and the girl, and she's opening the box, and then the green thing lights up, and her face is filled with green, and obviously the thing in the box is green, and Pedro Pascal walks by. So 2 things right there. Number 1, hello Pulp Fiction, you could not have thrown that in my face more as like an analogy to that movie. But number 2, as soon as he walked by, I'm like, oh, this is where it's all going to connect in another couple of minutes. So things happened where I was just like, I didn't understand all of the connections. Let's see. Oh, and there was another fight scene where the person who was doing the fighting was wearing yellow, and there were hundreds of enemies. It just reminded me of the fight scene in Kill Bill 1, just before Beatrix Kiddo takes on Oren Ishii, the Crazy 88. It reminded me exactly of that. So I was distracted the entire time. What I thought the movie assignment was it was like some kid's assignment in a film class in college, and they said, make a movie that's like Tarantino. And then there was some wealthy donor that came in and said, oh, I'll throw some budget so you can get a couple big name actors in. And they just made this close to Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction. And to me, it just didn't work because that's all I could think of the entire time. So what are your thoughts about all of that?
No, I definitely noticed the change in the screen size. And I thought it was cool how they went from one screen size to the other, but it just seemed like they had the effect of they'd have the stick figure push the screen to make a full size. But other than that, there was really no reason why the screen size changed. The cigarette butts burns in the corner drove me out of my mind because they were occurring so frequently. It was like, can we give this a break? So I had huge issues with the technical sides of the movie, which I normally don't. Yeah, and then like you said, like the very loose connection between all the movies. I think the only connection what we have between the Danger Zone with the 2 girl rappers, we have them at the movie theater once, and then we have the cop goes in to get bubblegum ice cream. Like that's it. And that's not good enough to make that connection last all the way through the movie, just those little tiny connections. I'd rather have it be totally separate than have it be as connected loosely as it was.
I agree. I agree. I just it's as you said earlier. It was four shorts where they found a reason to put them together, either by proximity or something else. And I don't know. It just didn't work to me.
It also kind of reminded me of, I'm not sure if you've watched the Cloverfield trilogy, but you have Cloverfield 1, which is a horror movie, and it's found footage about a monster that attacks New York, and it's awesome. And then you have 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is incredible, but like is out of order from what should have occurred in the franchise. And then the third, the Cloverfield Paradox, is, I think it was just essentially like a different movie that was bought, labeled as Cloverfield, and they just threw in a monster at the end from it to tie it all together. And I was like, this connection isn't good enough.
Yeah, I never saw the trilogy. I saw I don't know if John Goodman was in all of them, so I don't know if this helps to narrow it down. I saw the one with John Goodman, and I think they were living in a bunker underground, but I didn't see the other two.
That's the second one. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Well, Kyle, it's time for the score reveal, and I've got my guess for yours written down. So, what do you give this movie for an overall score?
Okay, so before I give you my overall score, I want to give you my rankings of these in order. I thought Punk Fight was the best, the first one. Then I like Sleepy Floyd. Then I like Danger Zone, and the Pedro Pascal one I couldn't stand. So overall, my rating was a 6.2 out of 10, making it movie number 190 on the spreadsheet. It's above average, and I love when movies try something new, and because of that creativity, innovation, I'm a little more kind on them. Eric, what did you have for my guess, and what's also your score for this movie? I'm curious.
So I agree with you. I'd rather see someone try something new than rinse and repeat the old. But sometimes when you try something new, it doesn't work. That's okay, but that's part of like the creative process. So my overall score was a 5.95, same as you. It's above average. I just don't know if I would ever watch it again, and I don't know if I would who I would recommend it to. But I watched it. I didn't look at my watch to see how much time is left, so it was sort of entertaining. And my guess was that you were going to come in at the same at 5.95. So that was my guess for what you were going to put it at. You actually put it higher than I thought.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I would recommend this movie to anybody who kind of likes M. Night. I might be like, hey, you like the weirder M. Night movies. This movie might be for you. And then it also has to be somebody who is willing to watch something different and doesn't want to watch like sequels over and over and over again. So I think, Eric, that means that you won the prediction, which means that you will get to choose the movie first. Congratulations.
Woo! I will, and we're gonna do the movie reveal at the end. Yeah, so I think I was within point three. What did you say your number was? 6.2.
6.2.
Yeah, so I was 0.25 away, and then yeah. So all right, I'm excited. All right, competition one comes my way.
All right. So let us know what you think. Did you see Freaky Tales? Did you like it? Are there other short movies like this that you think should be like on the spreadsheet that we should be discussing? Remember, like, subscribe, comment below, comment, guess our scores. All right, let's move into the feature.
All right, cool. So today we're gonna play, drum roll, describe the poster. So I was watching Kyle and Megs discuss the New York Times top 100 list, top 100 movies since 2000. And there were several times that Megs would mention a movie and you, Kyle, would say, I didn't see it, but here's the movie poster. This is what it looked like. And then you would flash it up in your edit. And I was like, wow, he's really good at that. So I want to challenge you to see how many posters you can accurately describe, and I've got 10 titles for you.
And because it's football of all kinds is kicking off this week, the movies have to be related to football of one kind or another.
All right, and we're gonna make this interesting. So I've written down my over under for how many I think you're gonna be able to get right. If you hit the over, I'll pay your fantasy football entry for the league that we're going to do together.
And if I can't hit the over, I obviously will pay yours. So hopefully it's not too much.
$20, $20. But it's real money. That's real money. All right. Here we go. Just one point of clarification to avoid any doubt as to which poster it is. I went online, and when I typed in the name into IMDb, whatever poster showed up first in their photo carousel, that's going to be the poster that we're using to for that movie. So we good to go?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Okay, I want you to describe The Longest Yard.
The Adam Sandler one or the other one?
The Adam Sandler one. We're going to go easy to hard.
Adam Sandler one is... Oh man, if that's the easy one. Okay. It is... What we got? We got like a sunset in the background. We got red in the background. I have to like stare off in the distance, not look at the camera. But there's some red in the background, some orange, and then it's all their faces in the middle. So I believe Adam Sandler's face is front and center with the entire cast moving left and right. And I believe Nelly and Michael Irvin are on that.
I think that's a pass. So that's one. I don't know how you do. Actually, I should put it over here. Kyle will put in the poster too during the edit. But all right, so that's one down. That's a yes. I think the next one you're gonna be able to get. You ready? Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. Okay. Red Riding. Jerry Maguire, and I believe it's him kind of looking towards the side, with like a light blue background. Yeah, I think it's like a side shot, so it'd be like this, him looking down. I'm not sure if the kid's in it or Renee Zellweger's in it, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I know the writing is red. Yes.
I'm gonna give you 2 for 2. There you
That's
go.
absolutely right. I got that one.
Dude, you're like Rain Man when it comes to these movies. All right, so that's 2.
Hey, and he was in Rain Man, so
right.
Nice connection there.
All right, here we go. Number 3. This one I think is going to be a little more difficult, but maybe that's just because I'm not as good at this as you are. Bend It Like Beckham.
Bend It Like Beckham. All right, so we got Keira Knightley on the cover. I believe she's celebrating with, I don't know her name, but dark-haired girl, green below, soccer ball, goal in the background, light blue sky. It's kind of, I know they're wearing white and red shorts. I know that's their team colors.
Oof, man, you remember a lot. This might be one where you get screwed by there being multiple different posters, because this is the official movie poster. So, I'm going to count that as a no. But I think there is a version that you described that's out there. But for the purpose of making sure we're right or wrong. All right, here we go. Ready? Number 4. Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday. I'm not sure if I've even seen this movie. Just kidding. Of course I have. Black background, a guy in the middle, a lot of little. It's mostly dark, but then like a lot of how am I going to describe this? Being out of. I don't know. I don't think the guy's like got his hands out like this. So black. Number 13 is the guy in the middle. Willie Beeman, Steeman Willie Beeman. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right. I think you're spot on with that. So here's Any Given Sunday. There's the guy in the middle, mostly black background. So all right, that's a yes. So we're 4 in so far. You're at 3. You're doing pretty good. Ready for number 5? Varsity Blues.
Okay, Varsity Blues. So I'm gonna describe the classic Varsity Blues one because I own this DVD. So it's a pickup truck. You got blue on the top, blue on the bottom. It's a light blue pickup truck. They're all sitting on it. They're all on the side. I know there's another one, but this is the DVD cover, and that's Varsity Blues. That's it. That is Varsity Blues. Boom.
So that's a pass. That is total pass. 100%. All right, so you are 4 for 5. We are halfway through. Let's see how the rest of this goes. Number 6, The Replacements.
I love this movie. Okay, so we got Keanu Reeves. He's wearing his white uniform. I believe he's going to be with the cheerleader. I think it's peripheral. Or it's from the side again, I believe. And I think it's going to be kind of a little blurred out in the background. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
Tell me the describe the people again and maybe the uniform.
I'm going to go. It's like a white uniform with red on the side of it. I mean, or it could be like white with gray or white with blue. I know their colors are white, blue, and red since they play in Washington. And I think she's in her little cheerleader uniform. I think she's got red pom poms, and they're like about to embrace.
Ooh, that's real close. That's gonna be right on the verge. I'll show it to you. What do you think?
Ah, a red uniform. I was picturing a white uniform. No, I think no.
I mean, but you did say red and white. You did say they were about to embrace. You kind of left out Gene Hackman though. Ooh, that's close. I don't know. Let's put that as a TBD.
I think let's say if there's another close one, then we'll count those two as one.
Okay. All right. I like that. Number 7, Rudy.
Rudy. Wow. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get Rudy. Okay, I'm gonna go. No, I don't know. So Rudy's tricky for me because there's so many still images from that movie in my mind. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go black background. Him in his Notre Dame uniform with his helmet on. I think kind of looking at us from like, maybe quarterback. Maybe it's towards the end in the Georgia Tech game. God, for some reason I want to say like touchdown Jesus is in the background or touchdown Mary. I don't know. It's about as good as I'm gonna get. I don't know if I got that one.
Yeah, that's a fail. This is he's walking across the field dressed in normal clothes with a bag in the empty stadium. So
Total fail. Yeah, it's just that one image is burned in my mind of him like coming around the outside making that sag.
all right, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half, and there are 3 to go. All right, the next one. Let's see. Kicking and screaming.
Blue background. He's wearing his blue and Will Ferrell's wearing his blue and black striped tiger suit, and I believe he's kind of like spread out, almost like he's like falling back, and I believe there's a soccer ball like right in the middle. Yeah.
All right, so this is another one. I'm going to give you a half on this one. So it's Will Ferrell. He's kind of spread out like that. He's just, instead of a soccer ball, he's surrounded by all the players. But blue background, yeah, I'm going to give you a half. So we'll put the 2 halves together.
That's what I want to see. That's another one I want to see I want to see another poster for that one. For sure. I'm going to pull one up.
I think there's another one there's another one that's basically describing that fits what you described. All right, number 9, Friday Night Lights.
2 players in the middle. You got black, a lot of black in this, lights above. Like the lights are what obviously stands out, and then you get the white in the uniforms. Yeah, 3 across the middle, all black on black. Yep.
Yeah, you're. I'm gonna give it to you. It was 3 players, not 2, but otherwise spot on. So that's a yes. All right, this last one. If you get this, I'm gonna be amazed. But again, this is why you have nearly 400 movies on your movie spreadsheet. Victory.
Victory. Okay, so this is gonna be. I'm gonna take a shot here. I'm just gonna go with crowd in the background.
Well, let's start while you're thinking about it. Do you know the movie Victory? Have you seen it?
I'm gonna take a shot here, and this could be completely wrong. I believe it's the movie that takes place in like a Nazi jail where they have to like play a soccer game, and okay, I believe it's red shirt, white shorts being like maybe lifted or embraced, and like it's going to be on the left side, and then you're going to have, I don't know, like a blurred out background. This one is a complete loss for me.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be tough, and I saved the toughest for last. So you're right about the red, but they're kind of standing together, forming a V for victory. So I'm gonna count that as a no. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 halves. So that'll go to 6. Do you want to know what I had the over under at? I had it at 7.5. I Oh yeah, I thought you were going to get the replacements in Rudy. I did not think you were going to get victory, and I thought you were going to struggle with Bend It Like Beckham and Kicking and Screaming. So it's kind of on the right wavelength, but it's getting 6 right. That's pretty impressive. But you know what that means? Cha-ching. It's okay. This is just episode 3. There's time to make it all back. All right, cool. Well, so that was our fun. And let's go ahead and close the curtain on movie night. We're now going to head into game day. So Kyle and I are also really passionate about sports. We like to discuss topics from around the world of sports. I'm up first this week, and I want to talk about what I talked about last week in our sports segment. I was talking about the fake apology that tennis players give each other after clipping the net. And wow, the US Open hasn't disappointed. We saw American singles tennis player Taylor Townsend play Latvian singles player Jelena Ostapenko. And during that match, Taylor hit a winner. It happened to clip the net. She won. And in my opinion, rightfully so, she did not give the fake apology. She pumped her fist for the win and then moved on. Well, at the end of the match, Ostapenko was not happy about that. She gave Townsend an earful, said that she was uneducated and classless. And then during the interview that they do after the match, Townsend was asked if she took that to be like a racial comment. And Townsend basically said, well, you just have to ask Ostapenko. So a few days later, Ostapenko explained that because English isn't her native language, it came out wrong. She meant to insinuate that she lacked tennis etiquette. But if you take all of that aside, the commentators who are former tennis athletes, they were defending Taylor, saying the apology isn't a rule. It's not something that's necessary. And let's see, I was just saying that the apology was not necessary. It's not a rule. So why should Ostapenko be getting upset that she's not getting an apology? Like, I stand by my original opinion that you shouldn't fake something like that. You don't apologize when you hit any other winner. You don't apologize for an ace. You don't apologize for cross-court shot when the opponent is out of position. You don't apologize when the ball clips the line and bounces weird. So why is clipping the net some sacred event in the volley that requires an apology? So Taylor Townsend, I'm 100% behind you. You were authentic. You were truthful. You didn't do anything wrong. Jelena, I do appreciate she came back and clarified and said, English isn't my first language. I didn't mean it that way. I just meant to say she doesn't have the proper tennis etiquette. Appreciate that clarification. Still 100% disagree with you. So, Kyle, what are your thoughts?
I've got so many thoughts on this. So the first thing is, let's talk about the not a native English speaker first. So in the Premier League or in like European soccer, a lot of PR departments actually tell the coaches, do not speak your non-native language in interviews. So if you're if you're a Portuguese manager, because there is a Portuguese manager in the Premier League right now, and he is having these press conferences and he's saying some stuff that's like, what are you saying? Why would you be saying those things? Ruben Amorim of Manchester United. And a lot of times they coach you, don't speak in English unless you're certain it's right because of the way it's going to be misconstrued. And so they actually coach them to just make those comments in Portuguese or in whatever your native language is. That way it's not misinterpreted and misconstrued. But I think coming back and clarifying that her intentions weren't this, I think the whole thing has kind of blown over at this point, but it was like a wild thing that, for the US Open, the thing that we're talking about isn't even actually tennis. It's really arbitrary etiquette. Now, I also asked my sister about this. She's played a ton of tennis, and she said, hey, look, like, no need to make the apology, but you also shouldn't celebrate it because you got lucky. And so if you got lucky in certain things, if I hit a golf ball into the woods and it bounces off and goes next to the green, I'm not going to be like, yeah, or celebrate it. So maybe if that happened in the match, I don't know. I didn't watch this match. That could be a potential point of contention. But I mean, again, spot on topic with what happened. So really cool.
Once in a while, I have those spot ons. Yeah, just so Ostapenko, her comments weren't during an interview. It was her speaking directly to Townsend. It happened to be picked up by the cameras, so that's why everyone heard what she said. But I do think that's a really good point, and I totally give her the grace of what she said. Like, I don't speak English, so I said it wrong, and I'm clarifying. And I believe her clarification. I still don't agree with her that this is mandatory etiquette. I don't know about what your sister says. Like, if you hit a lucky shot across the court and it catches the outside corner of the line, you're allowed to celebrate there, but just because it clips the net and drops in, you're not supposed to celebrate there. Like, you hit a drop shot, it just goes over the net, that's okay. I don't know why we have to draw a distinction. If you hit a winner, it's a winner, and you celebrate.
I think there's a big difference, though, in ripping a shot down the line that is inch perfect versus ripping a shot that clips the net, and then it takes a little bit of luck for it to essentially go in. Like, one of those points was all you. One of those points had a percentage of luck factored into it. You're like the karma god. So that's why you always give your little apology, karma god's on your side, and then you pick up more points.
No such thing as net karma. But all right, Kyle, what'd you bring this week?
Okay, here's what I brought. A lot of people are going to say this is the time of the year that sports really kicks off, that now we have all of this, we have college football going, we have professional football starting this week. But I want to make a plea to the announcers out there. And I want to make a plea that less is more. We don't need to fill every waking second of a football game full of commentary and arbitrary comments that mean nothing or add nothing to the game. I was watching Liverpool destroy Arsenal this morning, 1-0. Yeah. And I was just completely enthralled with the announcing this game. There were moments where there was absolute silence and you could just watch the game unfold in a beautiful way. Why are our announcers so obsessed with proving how much they know and talking? It's driving me crazy. I wish we had different broadcast options that allowed me to turn announcers off so I could just watch games. And I loved during COVID how limited announcers we had, especially in European soccer, where a lot of it was just like you're listening to the game, and it was truly beautiful. And so please, announcers, less is more. What do you think about that, Eric?
So I can't comment on soccer because I am not the biggest soccer fan. However, my analogy would be to the NFL. And my absolute favorite broadcast team in the NFL is Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, now on Monday Night Football. And what I really appreciate about them is, first of all, Troy is 100% authentic. He criticizes people not for, to go viral, not to be rude, not to be mean, but because he has a valid opinion. And Joe Buck, I think, does just the right amount of talking. And sometimes it's really interesting when you're watching the game. 20 seconds will go by and they won't say anything just because they know they don't need to. I think they epitomize what is best in broadcasting. You say what is necessary and you be quiet and just let the visuals talk the rest of the time. So I agree with you. I just can't bring the soccer vantage point to that opinion. But that's why Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, I'm always watching you on Monday Night Football.
I love it. Yeah, it'll be cool to have them on Monday Night Football and get to have some of those quiet spells. All right, so should we go into the movie assignment? And since, well, like I lost, that means you get to choose the movie first this week. So what do you got?
Yeah, that's right. So I won. So I'm happy to open this up. Oh man, I have two that I really want to watch. Okay, I'm going to pick first. It's a new movie that's newly streaming on Peacock. It was in theaters earlier this year. The movie is called Drop. It's where a woman who's on a date receives a phone call that the only way to save her son is to commit murder while she is on that date. And then a whole bunch of stuff ensues. So I'm really excited to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be horrible, but I definitely want to see it. So Kyle, that's what you got to watch for next week. What do you have for me?
All right, so I'm going to go with the number one movie on Netflix right now. K-Pop Demon Hunters has finally been removed from the top spot, probably wrongfully. But so this week, I'm going to have you watch The Thursday Murder Club, which is getting a lot of attention on Netflix right now. So cool, two streaming services that we have to make it really easy for both of us.
All right, Kyle, I think you just said to me, do I have any other closing thoughts or comments? The only thing that I want to say is, who dat? Let's get our new head coach and our new starting quarterback a win for his first home game. And I also want to say one more thing. Congratulations to Lee Corso. Picks on College Game Day are never going to be the same. And congratulations on being able to retire on your own merit. Next week, we are going to be watching Drop. And I think Kyle said Thursday Movie Club. So be sure to watch, ready to comment, and see how close you can guess our scores.
Okay, so we got Drop and we got Thursday Murder Club, and we're gonna have a lot of people commenting below what they think our predictions are gonna be. Thanks for checking this out. As always, continue to follow the Movie Spreadsheet for more content. Like, subscribe, share this with other people. We want you guys to be a part of this spreadsheet. Comment below what you think about these movies.
All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We're going to see you next week right here on Movie Night and Game Day.